Hey guys, Spider here, and this is the beginning of our tips and tactics series of videos that we're going to be creating for the WarZ. And the first one is just going to be an introduction, and I was actually going to wait until November 4th to produce this because the WarZ, I mean, they're in alpha, they tend to do updates almost every day, so I wanted to wait until we had the most current information for you guys, but they lifted the NDA, and so we're going to provide it for you guys. So what you'll start off with here when you first start the game, you'll see this you'll likely have 5 empty slots on the left hand side, and what you do is basically click on any empty slot and you'll come up with this entry box. So you enter your new survivor's name. Now one thing you want to keep in mind, even though it's all capitalized, your name is capitalized in the box, when you're actually in game it's not all capitalized. So I usually capitalize the S and the B in my name, and that's what I did when I entered it here, only it's not going to show it here, it'll only show it in game when you actually look at the chat box. Now, when you're creating your character, you have the option for game mode, normal mode, or hardcore mode. I've never actually created a hardcore mode character, but hardcore mode, as described by the WarZ, is if you die in game, you lose that character. And while that really doesn't mean much currently, I mean, if you die in normal mode, you're going to lose your character. I mean, you could revive your character, but you're going to lose all your gear, and you retain your stats. So you retain the number of kills you got, number of civilian kills, number of zombie kills, number of bandit kills. In hardcore mode, you would lose that character. You would have to recreate a brand new character. So right now, you would only lose those stats, which really isn't that big a deal. But when they actually implement all the things that they want to implement with the characters and skills, if you build up skills with your characters, then you definitely don't want to necessarily lose that. And as it stands right now, I don't believe there are separate servers for hardcore, and with the amount of testing and the game being in alpha, I just highly recommend that you just create a normal character, because it's not going to really make much of a difference. Once the game's actually released or in beta or out of beta and fully launched, then we may look back and look at the options and or possibilities of creating hardcore characters. So once you're done here, I'm going to stick with normal. I'm going to continue. Now we have the option, and currently there are only 3 character model options with some variations to their heads, their upper bodies, and their legs. There was mention of them adding more, which is again why I wanted to wait until closer to the 4th before I produce this video, just in case they mentioned that in an upcoming patch they would be adding more characters. But we're looking at these 3 for right now. So these are the customizations you can make. Now, one thing I would recommend, and I'm going to, put on pretty brightly colored clothes. I would go with not even necessarily Vincent, whatever. I would go possibly with Dustin and go with dark clothes, because you want to sort of try and blend in with your environment. You don't want to be easy to see. So I would definitely recommend not creating a character like I just did here, but I'm just creating it just to give you guys an example. One thing to keep in mind with these loadings where it says 1 moment please, I was actually in the process of uploading a video, so those should be quicker for you. For me it was a bit slow. So you can see the stats, right? We have experience, which is always 10. Experience is not counted right now, which is again one of the reasons why when it does start counting, you may be more inclined to keep those characters and not consider having a hardcore character. And you can see here some more of the stats that we were talking about, including survive time. You have number of zombies killed, number of bandits killed, number of civilians killed. Now your alignment, right now my alignment is neutral. Now that will fluctuate. If I go out and kill a bunch of civilians, and it's very hard, it's kind of actually hard to tell right now at least the difference between a civilian and a bandit. I mean, you may not necessarily know that a player is a bandit unless they just come out and kill you, or maybe they're not a bandit yet, but they start shooting at you. So it's not very clearly defined at this point in time, again, the game being an alpha, but if you kill too many civilians, then you actually become a bandit. And I believe the count is if you kill 10 civilians, or it might be a ratio between the number of civilians you kill versus bandits. But somewhere in and around 10 civilian kills, then your alignment will then become bandit. And if you kill more than 100 civilians, and I've never actually confirmed it, I think I've seen one, you can actually become a mega bandit. On the other side, and I actually haven't seen any players like this, if you kill X number of bandits, I'm assuming 10, then you actually go from neutral, and I'm not sure if it goes to hero or if there are actually two alignments above neutral that you could get to. So let's say if you kill 10 bandits, you become a hero, and you kill 100 bandits, you become a mega hero, perhaps. But just to give you kind of an idea of the differing alignments that you can obtain depending on your actions in game. Now, in order to cut down some of the PvPing that's been going on, the player killing, they're looking at implementing a system where bandits will have bounties. I'm not exactly sure how it's going to work. The bandits may be identified in some fashion, so if you're a bandit or even a mega bandit, you'll be identified in a clear manner as well, and we'll talk about the inventory in a few minutes. You won't necessarily have access to your global inventory like regular characters with neutral or hero alignments would have access to. But we'll cover that in a few minutes. Or we'll cover it now. When you create a new character or you revive a new character, you have access to your global inventory. Your global inventory is basically just a collection of items that you've placed into your global inventory from whatever characters you've created. So I've accumulated all these items, and now that I've created a new character, I can equip that character with those items. So right now I'm just looking at melee weapons. You can, I have flashlight melee, I've got a hammer, I've got, bats, I've got a spike bat, I believe I have a pickaxe. I mean, you can get a hatchet, you can get a tactical knife as well for the melee. And the melee is always in slot 2. In your equipment list there at the top left of the screen. So now I'm looking at what you generally want to start with as starting a new character. If you just played the game for the first time, you will actually have some basic items already equipped on your character, and that will be the case for the first 5 characters that you create. Not necessarily using all the 5 slots, because if you can actually delete a character and re-add a character in the same slot, so that really doesn't count. I mean, as soon as you create 5 different characters, whether you use up the 5 slots or you delete or remove a character and add a new one, the 6th one, you won't get any items. You'll basically be empty. So I can't remember exactly what the starting items were. I think there was maybe a bandage, some food, possibly a flashlight. And flashlights are rampant. They're all over the place in this world, as you'll see if you start playing this game. So the global inventory has classifications for items. So we're looking at basically gear right now, and then we have the food tab. We have medical, which I don't know if I'd necessarily call binoculars medical, but so what I'd normally do if and actually, all you have to do is actually right-click. I don't think you can actually place an item directly into a quick slot. So, you have your 2 primary. You have a primary weapon and a secondary weapon slot, as well as 4 quick slots. So those provide you with easy access to those items, and we'll see that in game. So normally, what I would recommend, I mean, not as starting out, like right away, but if you're generally running around maybe with some other players, I would always have antibiotics or DX bandages or a med kit in that first quick slot, which is basically slot 3, and then a lesser type of medical equipment like painkillers or regular bandages in the second quick slot, which is actually slot number 4. Another item that is very useful are binoculars. Binoculars let you see at a pretty good distance, and before you enter into any settlements or towns or cities or crash sites or whatever you're going to enter into, you can actually get a good view of the site. I mean, I would recommend, and we'll get into this in future videos, but recommend you take some time to scope out a potential site that you're going to go into to loot prior to going in there and actually looting, just to ensure the possibility of there being other players and player killers in there is at a minimum. The next thing we're going to add here is some food. You actually have a thirst and hunger meter on your character, and we'll get into that probably in the next video. But food, the soup, actually adds to both. So it's kind of a double hit. So it's like killing 2 birds with 1 stone, right? So I have a can of soup, and it will actually fill up not only probably my hunger meter a little bit more, but also my thirst meter a little bit. And it's pretty damn easy to find water or juice or whatever, items that will add to your thirst meter. The one thing that is sometimes difficult to find is food. So when you get run down or you're actually traveling a lot from location to location, you'll find that your hunger meter draws down a bit faster than the others, and it's harder to replenish because food is more of a scarce resource than is water. And that's just based on experience playing the game. They may modify that depending on how they're tweaking the game. Again, it's an alpha. They may tweak the drop rates for food as they go. All right, next up, we're going to add some weapons. I'm going to equip an Uzi in my primary slot. So at first, it's going to go in my backpack, and then I'm going to move it into my equipped slot number 1. Equipped, they are missing a P on equipped. So you can put an Uzi in there. I mean, again, anything other than a pistol, like a crossbow, a shotgun, SMG, assault rifle, sniper rifle, those will take up equipment slot number 1, and equipment slot number 2 are for your melee weapons or your pistols. And just for example, I'm going to equip some body armor. I only have one type of armor here, the MTV Forest, and that will go into that equipment slot right there. And that'll give me some extra protection against weapon and melee damage. And also, you have headgear. So not only do you have masks, you have hard hats. We've got a beret. We've got gas masks. We've got boonies. Not a lot of them will give you protection. Supposedly, the helmets do give you some protection versus weapon firing and melee attacks. So, again, if you're going out, and I would recommend only doing that if you're going out with a group with the intent of staying alive, that's how I would equip myself. And it's an entirely different story if I'm just going out on my own to do some things, to do some looting, etc. Because, if you're on your own, the chances are you may get killed, especially by other players. If they see you running around alone, then the chances of you getting killed are a lot higher versus when you actually are with a group and have some backup. I mean, you may still get killed, but at least they can grab your items for you and wait for you to bring a new character to that location to pick them back up. All right, again, if I'm going out with a group to loot for the specific purpose of looting and we have weapons, then I would actually equip a larger backpack. This is a large backpack. It actually gives me 16 additional slots over and above my equipped and quick slots, whereas the small backpack only gave me four slots for items that I might pick up while I'm looting. And keep in mind, with these items that you're equipping, it actually shows on your character. So if you're carrying around a larger backpack, people are going to be able to see that. If you have body armor, people will see that. If you have a primary weapon, typically, and it's a bit buggy right now, just being an alpha, people may see that on your back. If you don't have it, or especially if you're holding it, they're going to see that, right? So it makes you a bigger target. If people see that kind of thing, if I see you in game, and I see you with a large backpack or an Alice backpack on, I'm probably going to go after you because I know you likely you have quite a bit of stuff, probably including weapons, possibly because you want to defend yourself. You have more items. The tendency is that you're going to defend yourself. So, representing yourself to other players is very, very important. You want to represent as weak a player as possible, again, unless you're going out with a large group of other players. And we'll talk about that just towards the end of the video specifically. All right, so we're just going to take a quick look at the marketplace, some of the things you can buy, items. You can buy a bunch of ammo here. Now, not everything. You can't buy everything. Most of the items are found in the world. You have to loot for them, particularly weapons. You can't buy any guns. You can buy ammo for some guns, but not a lot of them. Again, helmets, the Halloween special pumpkin mask, I did pick up. You can pick up an Alice rucksack or backpack. Some of the food items, again, limited supply. The MRE is actually pretty decent. We'll be looking at that, or those items in a future video. Some medical supplies, which are actually in good supply here in the marketplace, which is good. I really like that. The rangefinder, I'm looking forward to being able to afford that. And then we have on the attachments tab, I actually bought this item, the Cobra, and you can get some other attachments here in the marketplace. Again, I'm not going to go through all the items here. We're going to have other videos that will look at these items more in depth for you in the future. One thing I should note is the indicators at the top right, where you have GC and the $sign, and then that green icon. I'm not even sure what the green icon is at the moment, but your GC are gold coins. So there are two forms of currency in game: gold coins, and the reason why I have actually gold coins is because I bought the legendary package and it gave me a certain number of gold coins as part of that package. I believe in the future they're going to allow you to actually use real money to purchase gold coins. Could be mistaken. I think that's the intent, where then you could actually go to the marketplace and buy additional items. But again, everything is available in the world. There's absolutely no need to do that. And supposedly, and although I haven't seen it, there are gold coins that are available in the world when you're playing the game. There's definitely money. The blue counter there, I have 550. There's definitely money, and the way you get money is by killing zombies. Not every zombie drops money. But every now and then, and I saw the drop rate actually last night when I was playing, the drop rate has actually increased because prior to last night, I have never gotten a money drop from a zombie. But now they're dropping money. There's actually quite a bit more incentive to go out and kill zombies now with those money drops, because there are only certain items in the marketplace that you can purchase with money, like the rangefinder and like some of those attachments that I'm very, very interested in purchasing. Okay, so now that we're ready to go out there, and it's kind of funny, I don't know why the character model is doing that. It's like he's a zombie or something. But we're fully equipped to go out with a group. But I'm not going out with a group. I'm going to show you what I would normally go out with if it was just me. I'm going to get rid of everything except the hammer, including the large backpack. I want a small backpack. If you don't have a hammer, I go with flashlight. If you don't have a flashlight, I just go with nothing. And you're going to find these items easily in the world. I mean, there are so many flashlights available, it's just ridiculous. Now, what I will say about going out with the most basic of supplies is that you look like you don't have anything, which is true. But again, you always want to look like that. You always want to, you have a small backpack on, you don't have anything else, you don't have body armor, you don't have headgear on. And even though I do have a hammer, I wouldn't normally run around with it in my hand. I would not equip it. I would just have it in my pack or whatever. I mean, you can easily hit, you just hit 2, as we'll see, to equip your hammer. But normally it wouldn't be in my hand, so I'd be just running around like I have nothing. So it makes me look like I'm not a target. Like, who wants to go and shoot a guy, waste ammo or whatever, on a guy who's just running around with a small backpack and no weapons, no armor, no nothing? So that's how you want to appear. You always want to appear as weak as possible, especially when it's just you and you're running solo. So I'm just going to take a look at some of the game options here. So you have video options. Again, just as an overview and introduction to the game, video, audio, graphics options. I'm actually running on medium. Here's controls. And the reason why I'm running on medium is because they have not completely optimized the game. They need to do some things, and if I run it on high or ultra and I'm recording at the same time, I do run into problems. There's only English language selectable right now. I presume they're just going to be adding additional language options down the road, but that's all that's available at the moment. Alright, so the next thing we're going to cover off is actually play game. Now, there are two options: quick join, or at least at the moment, quick join and server browser. I'm just going to go into the server browser and show you some of the options. Currently, there are, by region, you do have the ability to select your region. Now, I will say again, because I'm currently uploading a video, the ping is less than it should be. But I'm on the European servers, and the reason why I'm actually having the European servers selected right there is because when I was playing at night, there were less people on some of those servers, and it was just easier to go in and record some of the stuff that we've been wanting to record when there are very few people, and we have a lower risk of actually getting player killed by some of these guys. So I'm switching to North America. Some of the other filters, like Game Worlds and Strongholds, there aren't really any options. They're only running Game World, and the only map right now is Colorado. As well as the server options, I don't think those are really in effect, so those don't really apply right now. So quick join, all quick join does is basically puts you into a random server that they select themselves. So that's pretty much it. I mean, I actually wanted to cover a little bit more stuff in game, but I think that we'll We'll save that for another video. We're almost at 20 minutes here, but we're basically loading into the game and being placed into it. And as a newly created character, there are random spawn points. We actually end up getting spawned randomly near a stronghold. Again, we'll be discussing that in future videos as well as more in-game stuff. And if there's anything specific that you guys want us to cover, then let us know. But we do have quite a range of things that we're going to produce videos for you guys over the next few weeks, and looking forward to it. So hopefully this was informational for you guys, and it helps you out for your first foray into this game called the WarZ. We'll see you next time, guys. Thanks a lot. Later.